In your opinion, was this a use of deadly force?
It was not.
Can you explain that? Let's talk briefly in the second prong about the different types of resistance that a suspect could use. Can you describe the levels of resistance that you look for?
So no resistance would be compliance. That's always the goal. The next level would be passive resistance, where a suspect, you tell the suspect to turn around, put their hands behind their back, and they don't. They're not resisting you. They're just being physically non-compliant, yet without any type of physical strength or any type of maneuvers that they may try to do to prevent you from handcuffing them. So the next level would be active resistance. So I go to put you into a handcuffing position and you pull your hands away, or you struggle with me. So that's active resistance, where they're using energy to prevent an officer from accomplishing their goal. And then now that same suspect who I want to handcuff pulls away from me and they swing at me. So that's active aggression. And all those cues are allowing me to start escalating up the ladder of force options I have available to me.
Now, in terms of your experience in various jurisdictions, do use of force policies differ from city to city, state to state?
They differ slightly. Usually deadly force policies are fairly consistent. Some agencies have more liberal use of force policies than others. Some agencies now are starting to adopt policies that you can't shoot at a moving vehicle if the only weapon is the vehicle itself. So there's a little bit of a learning curve there for agencies.
Okay. So in terms of your, again, analysis, the first prong being whether there was a justification for the detention, the second prong being the level of resistance exhibited by the suspect, correct?
Yes.
What's the third prong?
What the officer did to overcome that resistance. So if somebody pulls away from you and they're actively resisting, does the officer pull out their baton and strike them in the head? That to me would be excessive.
Okay.
So was the officer's use of force proportionate to the level of resistance demonstrated by the suspect?
Objectively reasonable, correct?
Yes.
All right. So in terms of your three-part analysis, did you apply that analysis to this case?
I did.
In your opinion, was this a use of deadly force?
It was not.
Can you explain that?
So I'll give you an example that I used to teach my academy classes. So officers respond to a domestic violence situation, and the suspect is still there, and he fights with he fights with the officers, and the officers are justified in using a taser to overcome this person's noncompliance. They tase the individual, and the individual falls to the ground, strikes their head, and dies. So that isn't an incident of deadly force. That's an incident of an accidental death. And in my review, I would look to see whether the suspect's resistance to justify the use of the taser was objectively reasonable.